Now joining me is Emily Tisch Sussman. She is a senior advisor for Swing Left, and they're working on hashtag the last weekend. That sounds fun. Emily, welcome to Rebel Headquarters.
Thank you for having me.
All right, yeah, absolutely. So first, let's find out what Swing Left is before we get to the last weekend.
Swing Left is one of these great organizations that was founded when we all woke up that dreadful morning in November 2016, saying, look, all of these swing districts, basically there are more swing districts than we even realized there were. Like those great districts you were just highlighting, Texas, Kansas, and all they need is just a friend to reach out. They just need a little more information. So let's not just make sure that we're voting and registered to vote, but let's also make sure that we're volunteering. I love that Cards Against Humanity promo you just ran. That is a great way to volunteer. I love it.
Yeah, and Emily, we're trying to highlight every different group that's helping in whatever way that they're doing their own help. And so I love what you guys are doing, which is volunteer based. I mean, we're huge believers in volunteering here at the Young Turks network overall. So then along those lines, tell us what the last weekend is. What does it mean and what is it that you guys are looking to do?
So the last weekend, it's pretty self-explanatory, right? It is literally the last weekend before the election, also known as your last chance to have a real impact on this election. But I love what you guys are doing. I love what you guys are doing with your fans, making sure everyone is informed, everyone is engaged. But it really is going to take a little bit more of a stretch of what we have been doing to not give us a result like Donald Trump. So we have to make sure that we're reaching out and volunteering. So the last weekend is a coalition of over 50 organizations, adding more by the day, saying, look, the elections might not be our primary thing, but there is too much on the line now. We have to ensure that if someone's on our mailing list, our text list, if they follow us on social, like if they care about our issues, they have to know that the only way that we're going to really make a difference right now is to change the makeup of Congress. So reaching out into those swing districts to those voters, whether you have friends there, whether you're just signing up on our website and getting out with other new friends that you can make along the way, and just knocking some doors, right? Like at the end of the day, it's person to person. It's voter to voter. It's having people actually have a conversation with you. What we're starting to hear as we're getting closer is that we have so many people that have never volunteered before that are nervous about it, which is understandable. You're walking up to someone's front door. It's a little scary. And so they're asking us, oh my God, do I have to go and have conversations like it's my crazy uncle at Thanksgiving? No. You don't have to have those crazy conversations, although maybe do with your crazy uncle at Thanksgiving, but maybe save it for them. Just in the last weekend, we're getting out and we're making sure that everybody in these districts that is eligible to vote is hearing from somebody, just hearing the fact that somebody cares enough to know if they're going to show up to vote and let them know how they can do that.
Look, all of our efforts go to waste if at the end of the day, people don't vote. So yeah. That's why the last weekend, the last push, the last day makes a giant difference. And anybody who's been watching Young Turks or Rebel Headquarters knows that I emphasize that more than anything else, not because it makes us feel good, but because it actually works. And Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez won on the strength of volunteers almost exclusively, but I can name you 20 other races, same thing, Cara Eastman, Rashida Tlaib, Ayanna Pressley. They were all outspent. I mean, people that the media never talks about. Jamie Schoolcraft in Missouri, outspent 4-1, but his volunteer army put him over the top. So if you want to make a difference, there's no better way to do this. So let's talk about the scope of this too, Emily, because look, 50 groups are involved. That's a lot of groups to get on board for this. Move On, Indivisible, Organizing for America. Although looking at your bio, I feel like you worked for just about that many progressive groups in your career. But let's talk about it also in the scope of how many people are involved right now as volunteers and what you're looking to get to as a result.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we have over 50,000 volunteer hours signed up right now. So the way this is actually working is once someone signs up at the on the website, their information will actually, they can slot them right into campaigns, right? So the campaign can actually tell you, they can budget for how many people are coming. They can tell you exactly which doors to be knocking to let them in. So we're trying to get, we want to knock this out of the park, right? Like we want to get to like 100,000 volunteers in there. We want to get them all over the country because we know there are progressives all over the country. And that's why this coalition has been so successful at banding people together. Look, you're talking about the amount of underfunded campaigns that have actually won, and there's so many, countless more that can win. I mean, we would change the landscape of America if not only if every millennial voted, but if millennials voted at the same rate as boomers, right? Millennial engagement in midterm elections is pretty poor, really sad. But we are the largest voting bloc and the largest voting generation. So we could actually change not just this Congress, but we could change the mandate on Congress to say, look, these are the things that we show up for. We showed up when it mattered, care about our issues.
Yeah, absolutely right. If you want power, go and take it. And one of the ways that you take it is by voting and also by volunteering. And so I always remember a quote by Allison Hartson, who was the national director of Wolfpack. That's to get money out of politics. She ran for Senate in California eventually. But I remember when she was a volunteer for a group like the Last Weekend. And in that case, it happened to be Wolfpack before she became national director. And she'd called her congressperson and got them to change their vote and to vote to get money out of politics. And her quote was, Emily, "It's so good to get the power back." Like, and that's what our democracy is supposed to be. The people are supposed to have power. But unfortunately, oftentimes it's now the donors. And so this is how you wrestle control away from the donors. And if you don't show up, I guarantee you they will, and they'll take it.
Absolutely. I mean, I loved how you were just highlighting that we can actually take power in the Koch's home district. I mean, what a message, right? Like the things they're putting money into are to turn out voters. We can play that game, right? Like we can do that. And we can do it with volunteer power. So we can do it at the Last Weekend. Like come and sign up and join us. I think some of the things that people find by volunteering is not just feeling like you are actually taking back your democracy. Actually, I can't think of anything more important than that. So that's probably the most important. But also, when people sign up and they go on these volunteer weekends, is that, we all feel so fired up and a little bit constrained in what we can do in our day-to-day lives. But when we go on these weekends, like the Last Weekend, making sure that we really have those conversations with everyone around us about why they showed up. It really adds to the experience, right? Like we know that we are not just in it together, we're taking back power together.
Yeah, it's just last two things on that. I keep using Wolfpack because that's the example I have, and it's all driven by volunteers. And so when we won in Rhode Island, that was the fifth state to call for an amendment, a convention to get an amendment to get money out of politics. The volunteers said it was, in a lot of ways, the best day of their life. That feeling of accomplishment, because they knew they had done it. They had done it. They made a difference. And secondly, they made friends for life. They're all still friends, and so it's just got so many positive reverberations that if you get involved. So I want to make sure everybody's got the website. It's thelastweekend.org, and remember, it's called The Last Weekend, but you can start volunteering right now, okay? So people are knocking on doors, they're making calls. Obviously, the big push is on The Last Weekend, and that's why it's named that way. But you could get involved right now, and of course, swingleft.org as well. And so we'll have the links down below on YouTube and Facebook as well.
Volunteer now, because then you can tell all your friends how awesome it was.
Yeah, and by the way, I'll end on that. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the people I know that watched this show that volunteered for her, said, I mean, I felt like I did that victory, and nothing feels better. Nothing feels better. Fulfillment, it's a hell of a drug. You should try it. Okay.
It's a hell of a drug.
That's right. Emily, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for doing this. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me and all you're doing.
Thanks for watching this free clip of Rebel Headquarters. Don't forget to become a TYT member today for more exclusive content. Join now at tyt.com/join.